Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We're really pleased you could be here for our virtual retirement event. Now, whether you're recently retired or have been living in retirement for some time, today's session is designed to support you with the questions that often come up after work finishes. I speak with a lot of members during webinars and seminars, and for those that have already retired, the questions are often very practical. We hear a lot about the government age pension, how it fits with super, estate planning, and what support is available as life changes over time. My name is Peter Tressiter. I've been helping members at AustralianSuper for the last 27 years, and I'll be your host today. My role is really to help guide you through these conversations, keep things practical and focused on what matters most as you navigate retirement. Over the course of today's event, we'll talk through some of the most common topics we hear from members living in retirement, and we'll answer the pre-submitted questions you have sent in, which includes concerns about running out of money, where to turn to for support when life changes. Before we begin, AustralianSuper would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. The information we are covering during this event is general information only. It may include general financial advice which doesn't take into account your personal financial situation, your personal objectives or needs. Before making a decision, consider if the information is right for you and read the relevant product disclosure statement and target market determination, both available at AustralianSuper.com. Before we get started, a bit of housekeeping. You're welcome to submit questions using the Q&A throughout the sessions. We'll address as many questions as we can during the event. For the various sessions we are running throughout the event, there will be resources available. If we don't get to your question today, we will share follow-up information and recordings of all sessions after the event. One of the biggest shifts we see when people move into retirement is the change from saving for the future to actually spending what you've worked so hard to build. This transition isn't just about numbers. It's emotional. It can feel uncomfortable. It raises a lot of questions for people living in retirement. To explore that shift, I'm really pleased to now welcome Jacki Ellis, our Head of Retirement, who'll be sharing her insights on retirement today and what it really means to move from saving to spending with confidence, and how we are here to support you.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. As AustralianSuper's Head of Retirement, it's my privilege to welcome you all to this education session. As a profit for member fund, our members are at the heart of everything we do, and our purpose is to help you achieve your best financial position in retirement. So in many ways, when you retire, our job has only just begun. And so this is a big area of focus for AustralianSuper. We know that the nature of retirement is ever evolving and becoming a much longer period of time. In fact, our eldest choice income member has just turned 103. We also have 8 members over the age of 100 and 600 in their 90s. I mean, imagine. Those members are approaching their 4th decade in retirement. It's no longer that the needs of retirees like yourselves are becoming more nuanced, more complex. There's simply a lot of life that happens over all of those years, which also means that there is a lot to navigate. And we know from speaking with our members that retirement can be daunting. And that has never been more true. We recognise that we're living in an incredibly challenging time. War, volatile markets, cost of living pressures, they're all making it that much more uncertain. And so we're determined to keep striving to deliver strong investment performance, to transform our service, and to step up the guidance that we're providing you. Also, you can navigate retirement with that much more confidence. We know that we need to keep evolving, just as the notion of retirement itself is. And so today, I'd love to share 3 things that we're working towards in particular. 1, we're striving to make it all feel just that much easier in any way we can. 2, we're building in even more support to help you in those key decision moments. And 3, we're trying to help you create an income that will last for life. So on the first point, how can we make retirement easier? We know the trust you place in us to invest, grow and protect your super. It's a responsibility we take very seriously. And while we share many updates on how we invest in financial markets to deliver you strong returns, please know we are also investing significantly to keep your money safe. From uplifting fraud protection through to information security enhancements, there has been a tremendous amount going on behind the scenes across all our digital platforms. And at the same time, we're striving to make it easier to get things done, creating simpler experiences with fewer handoffs, by investing in digital-first services that make it quick and easy to self-serve online, but also can connect you in with a human when you need that extra support, when it matters most. A great example of this is our new bereavement centre. It's all about making retirement feel a little less stressful and hopefully a bit more flexible. So we will continue to work hard on this. We really want to make sure that all your interactions with us are as seamless as possible, whether that's when you speak to our team over the phone or make a transaction through our Apple portal. We're working hard on it all. On to my second point. We are determined to be here to support and guide all our members when and how they choose. We know that things change during retirement. Life happens. Interests change, markets move, families evolve, many retirements even return to work and retire again. Our goal is to be there with you on that journey, whatever it looks like for you, and to help you live well throughout your retirement. To do that, we need to get more personalised and a bit more proactive too. And to achieve this, we're investing heavily in our advice services. We want to ensure that we have the digital tools and the advisors that you need when you need them. Whether you want to understand how much income you can afford or explore your options as life changes, make sure that you're making the most of the government age pension, or simply looking to speak with someone as markets wobble. Our mission is to be there for you. And last, but certainly not least, we are working to deliver an income for life. We've heard how one of the biggest challenges in retirement is that shift from saving to spending. Worries about running out of money or markets falling are incredibly common, and it can be difficult to spend now without that peace of mind that your income will be there later. So it's no surprise that many of you have expressed an interest in the lifetime income product that we are building. It will work alongside our choice income product to provide more income certainty while still retaining plenty of access to capital. And in many circumstances, it can boost retirement income and government age pension eligibility. Now, to bring the significance of that to life a bit, let me tell you about a member we spoke with recently. She told us that even booking flights to visit her daughter caused her great anxiety. They aren't a luxury, but she worries about whether she can afford it. Now, speaking with us to better understand how her super works in with the government age pension certainly helped ease her anxiety. But if she could know that she would have an income for life, well, that would have helped that much more. Having the confidence to plan and spend without the fear of running out of money, that is something we are absolutely striving for. And so, taken together, we believe that greater support, more seamless help, and for many of our members, a lifetime income solution could mean less time worrying about your finances and more time simply enjoying the life that you want to live in retirement. And while my team and I are busy in the background with the hope that we can work continuously to make it all that much easier, today, I hope that you really enjoy this session and get a lot of value out of the help and assistance we have on offer. Thank you again for being members of AustralianSuper. And please do keep your feedback and questions coming. Hearing from you really does help us know what to focus on next. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacki, for taking us through today's retirement landscape. Once people move into retirement, the questions we hear from members often change their focus. Many are no longer asking about when they can retire, but are instead asking things like, am I getting the right amount of age pension? What happens if my circumstances changed? And what other support is available to me now? We're now going to focus on those common questions we hear from members living in retirement, particularly around the government age pension. To help unpack these questions, I'm joined by Kris Tiberi, a financial planner who works closely with members every day. Kris supports members through all stages of retirement planning, from pre-retirement strategy and income planning to understanding how superannuation fits into life after work. He is known for translating complex financial concepts into clear, straightforward advice that empowers clients to make confident decisions. Welcome, Kris. Thanks for joining us. Now, what got you into being a financial planner?
As a kid, I always enjoyed the concept of investing and money and all that sort of stuff. And financial planning was this up-and-coming thing back when I went to university. And I sort of did a unit in it, and I saw the impact that it was sort of having on people at the time. My grandmother was retiring when I was at university, and she sort of went and spoke to a financial planner, and he was quite instrumental in sort of setting her up for retirement and allowing her to retire early. And I sort of thought to myself, this would be something I'd really enjoy doing, is talking to people about money and retiring and structuring their assets and these types of things. So that's what got me into it.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I wasn't investing, I was just spending if I had any money at the time.
Yeah.
So in your experience, Kris, what is the most common question that members have about the government age pension?
From members, it's more in and around work. I think it's the first question they come to us with. A lot of members maybe are looking to transition to retirement but don't want to give up work fully. And there's not a great level of understanding between the relationship between working and getting an age pension. I think members still see it as an all or nothing, wherein I guess it's our role as the financial planner to educate them to say that age pension or being eligible for an age pension doesn't mean you have to stop work. So I think that's the big one that members really want to engage on is, well, I want to continue to work, maybe in a reduced capacity. Can I still get some eligibility to that age pension? So that's maybe the first thing. The second thing they then want to ask is the relationship between their financial position and the ability to get an age pension. So I think the second thing we like to do then is maybe explain the asset and the income test in some language that the members can understand. So it's typically those two questions that we sort of start with that then rolls off into, I guess, some more specific questions. The other one's gifting as well. Members have sort of heard a little bit around, this punishment per se of giving away assets once they're of age pension age. So they want a little bit of understanding around there because, again, members are looking to support either adult children or their grandchildren throughout their retirement as well.
So it's getting knowledge about something they don't really know about or they've heard about. And qualifying age for the age pension?
Yeah, so 67. So the government lifted the qualifying age for everybody to now 67. So that's male and female. And just to, I guess, for a bit of information for the members out there, you can make an application up to 3 months before your 67th birthday. So maybe something to watch out for there. Don't maybe wait until you've had your 67th birthday. Start making preparations leading up to that birthday.
Yeah, and they've got to be proactive. Centrelink don't come to them.
Correct. You don't get the birthday card saying happy birthday, you're of age pension age, come and have a chat to us. Yeah. No, you've got to go and you've got to start that process yourself.
With the age pension, many members I speak to find that it's just set and forget and it's going to be the same. Not true?
No, not true. Centrelink do want to know changes to your personal circumstances. So I guess fleshing that out a little bit more, what they're really looking for is material changes to your asset position in particular. So that's either your income position or the value of your assets. They really want that communicated to them. So if you have a windfall, you inherit some money, it's incumbent upon you as the recipient of your age pension to let Centrelink know that, because they're not going to know that, great Auntie Ethel has passed away and left you $5,000. So you've got to let them know any changes to your asset and income position. The other one where people aren't quite knowledgeable on is travel. So we're seeing more and more of our members now travel, in particularly travel overseas. Centrelink want to know if you're heading overseas for more than 6 weeks. It shouldn't impact on your entitlements unless you're leaving Australia permanently, but they do want to know when you're leaving, how long you're going for, and when you plan to come back. So that's just to ensure that you've got some continuity of payment, and more importantly, Centrelink knows what your plans are around travel. I guess the other one is people restructure their affairs. So they might change a super provider. They might make some big changes to their financial position. Again, Centrelink are not going to be aware of that. You've got to tell them when you make those types of big changes to your circumstance.
Now, you mentioned their assets income changing, but the government also has thresholds that change as well as they index them in line with CPI.
Yeah, exactly. So again, we've got a lot of members who in retirement maybe renovate the family home, go on a big trip overseas, these types of things. Again, I'd be encouraging you, if you're doing those things and you have this type of spending, to let Centrelink know, because a lot of members we do see, they are part age pensioners, and those types of material changes in asset position can really have quite a favourable, outcome for members. So I'd encourage members to speak to Centrelink when they've got these asset changes, because it could result in an uplift in age pension entitlements.
And I suppose with those changes of my position thresholds, I may not have been eligible for the pension in the past. Now I am. It's up to me to find out.
Absolutely. So I think, again, that can be a little bit confusing for members. Is I've gone through the process before, I wasn't eligible, Centrelink will let me know when I become eligible. That's not the case. I guess it's a separate assessment process every time you go through Centrelink. So really, it's very, very common for members to spend their assets in retirement, and we'd encourage that members are out there enjoying their best retirement from their assets. So just keeping that in the back of the mind that, I may have been ineligible for an age pension initially under that asset test, but as I spend my assets on my retirement, it may be in my best interest to go back to Centrelink just to double check that I might be eligible, because as you pointed out, they do index a lot of these thresholds in March and September of every year as well. So even if you maintain the same assets, Pete, that there is a likelihood here that at some point you become eligible for an age pension.
Yeah, so it's definitely not set and forget.
Definitely not set and forget.
Chris, one of the common questions I get from members is, if I start drawing down on my super, I'm going to lose my pension.
Yeah, I think it's a common misconception, and there's not a lot of understanding around the income test. The government, since 2015, have tried to simplify this for all the older Australians, in the sense that what you draw from your superannuation is not what is then counted as, income for Centrelink purposes. So Centrelink use something called a deeming rate. So I might use an example, it might be a bit easier. So we've got $100,000 in an income stream account at AustralianSuper. Whether I draw $5,000 a year from that income stream, or I draw $20,000 a year from that income stream, Centrelink assess the income the same and ignore the drawdown amount. So they use something called the deeming rate to say that $100,000 of assets is deemed to earn income of X. So they're more interested in the value of the asset that you hold, not how much you're drawing from it.
So, and also they don't then worry about how much that asset went up or went down, whether it went from 100 to 120 or down to 80. It's that deeming on the income that determines where you fit on that income test.
Absolutely correct. So again, using the same example, it goes from $100,000 to $110,000. The deemed rate would be the same if it went from $100,000 to $105,000. So they're not looking at how much you earn on your money or draw from your money. They're just looking at the value of that asset.
Yeah, because many members are worried that I'm taking $30,000, $40,000. It doesn't count. It's that deeming rate they need to be aware of.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned before gifting, because sometimes retirees find themselves in the position where they can give some money away to support family, for example. There are some rules around how the government assesses what you give away.
There is. So there's a couple of tests here. So there's really two types of spending. There's normal spending and then there's gifting. So I think taking a step back, gifting is not renovating your home, or gifting is not going and buying yourself a car, or going on a holiday with you and your partner. if you're a couple for Centrelink purposes. That's normal spending, same as buying the groceries. Gifting really is where you're giving an asset to someone else and you're receiving no material benefit for that. So think of you want to go to Bali and it's you and your wife and you want to take your 2 adult children with you. If you pay for their flight to Bali, there is no material benefit to you in doing that. That would be a gift for Centrelink purposes. So it's that, I guess, giving of assets to someone else or an experience to somebody else that they're trying to capture here. So they do limit that. So they say $10,000 in a single financial year is the amount that you can do from a gifting perspective, but they do limit it to $30,000 over 5 financial years. And timing then becomes really, really important because if you gift, say in April and May, you could inadvertently go over the gifting thresholds in that single financial year. So just be mindful that it's that July to June type time frame when looking to make gifts.
So the government's not limiting what I can give away. They're just saying give away X, we'll only count the difference between X and $10,000 is still counted as an asset.
Yeah, so it's a deprived asset. So you're exactly right. Centrelink don't limit the amount that you can gift. They just limit the amount that they will waive from your asset and income assessment. So if you want to give $15,000 in a single year, that's okay if that's what you want to do. Centrelink will allow you to, I guess, reduce your asset and income position by that $10,000, and that $5,000 of excess gifting in that financial year becomes something called a deprived asset, which essentially just means is that remains your asset, Pete, for 5 years.
So for members joining us today, what would be a practical example of giving away money and Centrelink are going to use this gifting rule?
So we're in May now, so $100,000 in the bank. I've given away $15,000 to my adult son. My bank balance, as of today, is now $85,000. But in the eyes of Centrelink, I have $90,000. So the way that it works is $100,000, $10,000 is the allowable gifting amount. So Centrelink gets 90, but my actual bank balance shows 85. And that difference of $5,000 is the deprived asset. It's the gifting amount in excess of the $15,000 that financial year. So under the income and asset test assessment for Centrelink, I'll be assessed at $90,000 in the bank as opposed to the $85,000 that I actually have.
How long do Centrelink continue saying I've got that $5,000 I gave away?
Yeah, so we're in May now, so 5 years from May will be the time frame that they assess me as having that extra $5,000 in my bank account.
So again, you mentioned before, timing is essential with the tests that Centrelink apply.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's done by financial year. So this is where good planning can make sure that the impact of this gifting on members can be minimised.
Now, Kris, we've spoken about the age pension, and it comes with a age pension concession card. But members ask about other cards available. What are some of those other cards that people can get, and are there different eligibility rules?
Yeah, so the pension concession card is the card that comes with age pension, but there are other cards that are available, and I think the 2 most common cards that we see some members are entitled to, first and foremost, is the low income health card. So the pension concession card requires you to be pension age, so 67 for male and female. The low income health card doesn't have an age limit on it. So people of any age can get a low income healthcare card. We're talking adults here, not children. But in essence, what the low income health card was brought in to address is those people who maybe retire before 67 and become low income earners within, I guess, their retirement years. So it's a bridge between their retirement date, which might be 60, and age 60 or 67 when they're going to become age pension eligible. So it's very similar to the pension concession card. It's really designed to reduce the cost of medication primarily through the pharmaceutical benefit scheme, but it does afford some other benefits in the form of some cheaper rates, cheaper rego, those types of things. The other card, which is more for people of age pension age, but maybe are self-funded retirees, and and not eligible for an age pension because of either the income or the asset test is the Commonwealth Seniors Health Card. So the Commonwealth Seniors Health Card, like the low income health card, is income tested, but the income test is a lot higher. That threshold is quite high. And again, that was brought in by the government to sort of reward those people that maybe had self-funded their own retirement, not eligible for an age pension, but still wanted to give them, I guess, some benefits to primarily the pharmaceutical benefit scheme again, but there's also some other ancillary benefits that card can provide. So I think it's looking at your own individual circumstances. First and foremost, how old am I? If I'm 60 plus, maybe retired, am I eligible for that low income health card? If I'm 67 and getting an age pension, well, I've got my pension concession card. And if I'm over 67 but not eligible for an age pension, I'm looking at something like a Commonwealth Seniors Health Card.
And like the age pension, I've got to apply for it. I've got to go to Centrelink, fill out the forms, fill it out online to get those cards.
Absolutely. And again, they'll ask you what card you're applying for because the application process for all three cards is different. So it's just something to keep in the back of the mind.
It sounds like a lot of work applying for these cards, but is it going to be worth it in the end for me to spend my time applying?
I think it comes back to the individual member, but a lot of the members we see, there is a lot of value in these cards. Medication is really expensive, so getting access to the pharmaceutical benefit scheme in a lot of members' instances is really beneficial financially for them. And the discounts in particular from the low income health card and the pensioner concession card can be quite significant in the form of, as I said, we're talking discounted registration. That's a big expense, and discounted rates, electricity, these types of things as well. So again, we see when we budget with members that these are the big ticketed expense items that sit in their budget. So any form of, I guess, lifestyle relief in what is a pretty expensive time in Australia at the moment, I think is absolutely worthwhile. And it's not like it costs you anything to apply other than time. So there's no application fee or anything like that. So I would absolutely encourage members to go in and make application for those cards.
So maybe a bit of pain for a gain.
Yeah, long-term gain. And especially Commonwealth Seniors Health Card, that one is really quite simple to retain. The low-income healthcare card, there is a renewal process that Centrelink will put you through to make sure that you remain eligible for that card. But again, if you're eligible at the time and you don't have significant changes to your circumstances over time, the renewal process is quite straightforward. It's all done online now.
So government pension, concession cards, federal level, but there are also potentially state cards available depending on where you're living.
Oh, absolutely. So this is where I think people get a little bit confused. They say, I've already got one of those, and they pull out the state card, and I say, well, no, that's your state card. What we're talking about here is the federal card. So yeah, I'd encourage members to do a bit of research on these cards because, if you enjoy a discounted counter meal at your local hotel or something like that, those cards again can provide really meaningful benefit over the long term.
Yeah, and it's reducing cost.
Cost. It's all about reducing cost. Yeah, unless you love paying Vic Roads the full rate for your rego, and that brings you excitement, I'd really encourage you to explore these cards because it can carve a significant amount out of people's budget, which leaves more for them to go and enjoy some of the more exciting components of their retirement spending.
Now, Kris, we've spoken about reducing costs. What about the stuff I've already got? I've got lots of assets. I've got a big family home. A lot of members go through that process of downsizing, sea change, tree change, retirement village. How does that all impact potentially on Centrelink?
Yeah, so this is a really, important consideration for members. As you rightly point out, the asset of the family home sometimes is their biggest asset in conjunction with sort of superannuation. So decisions around that asset can have some material outcomes to retirement funding. I think the first thing we should maybe call out is that the government, in a lot of instances, provides an asset test exemption to the family home when it comes to Centrelink. And that's, it is understood, but maybe not in the context of, well, then if I sell that, what then happens? So let's take a step back. So essentially, I live in $1 million home. It's on a standard suburban block in Australia. When I go into Centrelink and I record my assets and income for Centrelink purposes, whilst they ask me about that home, they don't count that against me from an asset and income perspective. If I was to then sell that $1 million home and I move into a $700,000 home, I now have $300,000 of assets which Centrelink are going to want to know about. So if that's sitting in a bank account, if that's in a super fund, whether I go and buy a managed fund, whatever I do with that money, provided I don't put it into the new home, Centrelink are going to assess that as an asset for Centrelink purposes and deem that asset to earn income. So it could have an impact on the amount I get from Centrelink. So that decision to downsize, it can impact on my cash flow position. So again, maybe understanding that before that decision is made, I'm thinking about doing this, what impact will it have on my individual circumstances is prudent.
And then that would come out in the discussions you have with a member about future plans for the 5-10 years down the track. How's it going to affect me then?
Absolutely. And then the other thing to be wary of is there are different rules and treatment around retirement villages, how much money's being put down to go into these types of villages. It can get a little bit complicated. So again, I'll just encourage members to maybe discuss their individual circumstances with either Centrelink or a financial planner, just to get, I guess, a real clear lay of the land as to what will happen come, I guess, that downsizing type event. Because the last thing we want to see here is, full age pension recipient, tracking really, really well from a cash flow perspective, maybe just need a little bit more capital out, and then you go and make a decision and it really compromises that age pension payment and puts you off in a worse off position from a cash flow perspective.
Kris, you've spoken about people who make a decision to do something. What about when decisions are forced upon someone? They've got to move into aged care and suddenly they're thrown a whole new world of Centrelink forms and rules. How do you help people through that?
Yeah, I think the best starting point is there's a lot of emotion in those situations, and in a number of instances, actually not the member that's having to make these decisions. It might be the children of the member under sort of a power of attorney type arrangement. So there is support out there. There's aged care specialist officers that do offer the opportunity for members and their children to meet with somebody face to face to really talk through those decisions. So I think taking a step back, selling the family home, it's a significant life event. So I would just encourage members to reach out for support, whether that's an aged care specialist, one of these specialists through, I guess, the aged care system or financial planner. I think discussing or walking through the options, I think is absolutely prudent.
So it's that preparation again of this is the action, what are the implications? Yeah,
because again, a lot of people towards the end of their retirement years, that they may be that full age pensioner and unlocking any amount of capital from that family home through that lifestyle type event, it is likely that it could have an impact on that age pension position. So I think just knowing that first, and then within aged care, there's a whole host of rules and regulations and that sort of stuff. So I think getting your head around that, just so that you're informed around the decisions you make.
And reaching out for support from those organisations.
Yep.
So it is about preparing, getting advice, getting help, and there is a resources tab that you can use to find that information. Finally, Kris, we've spoken about a lot of things. A lot of people might be feeling a bit overwhelmed. What would be your top 5 tips for this process?
So I guess start with getting a reference number for Centrelink. A lot of people don't have one. So what does that involve? That involves going to Centrelink, taking your identification documents and saying, I'm Peter and I'm here to claim my age pension. So Centrelink will issue with that customer reference number. And once you've got that reference number, that's really the first step. I think that the second step is to apply early. So get ready early. So I'm turning 67 in August or September. 3 months up to my 67th birthday, I can make that application for an age pension. So start nice and early because Centrelink won't backdate you if you wait till you're 70 to make an application. So I think that's really, really important. Further to that, don't make the assessment yourself. I think we've given a lot of, I guess, general information today, but ultimately it's Centrelink that makes the decision. So if you don't ask, you can't receive. So I'd really encourage members to ask the question around, am I eligible for an age pension? do the assessment, the worst they can say is no. It's not a black mark against you forever. It can be revisited over time, which I think is the next thing I'd really encourage members to do, especially those who have already made an application and maybe been declined, is to revisit, that application process. The indexation across March and September, because inflation's been a lot higher than maybe previous years, those indexation amounts have gone up quite a bit. So maybe revisit whether I've become eligible again. And the other one is I've been on a pension for 20 years and I've never been back to Centrelink. I'd really encourage those members to go back in and have a chat to Centrelink, especially if their asset position has reduced over time. It's likely that they're being underpaid from an age pension perspective. So just making sure you're on the right amount of payment is really important as well.
Thanks, Kris. As we've heard from the experts, retirement doesn't mean that everything has to be locked in forever. It's about knowing that life will change, but there are places to turn to for support when this happens. Whether it's questions about Centrelink, concession cards, housing, aged care, or support options, you don't have to navigate it alone. We hope today's conversation has helped you feel more informed, more reassured, and more confident about the choices that you have now or those that lie ahead. Thanks again, Kris, for taking time to join us and share your expertise on the matters of age pension financial planning. Thank you. We've heard from Jacki. We've talked about the government age pension. Now we're going to talk about estate planning. Many people believe that once they've written a will, their estate planning is done. And while a will is important for most people, particularly in retirement, it's often only part of the picture. One of the biggest reasons for that is superannuation. Super doesn't automatically form part of your estate, and it isn't always distributed according to your will. Who receives your super, how it's taxed, and how smoothly it's paid out can all depend on decisions you've made, or haven't made, or decisions you haven't revisited over time. Today we're running 2 sessions at the same time, so you can choose the one that feels most helpful for you right now, and you'll be able to watch the other session later. In session 1, we'll take a closer look at who can inherit your super and the potential tax implications. This session is designed for members who want a clearer understanding of what happens to their super. It looks at who may receive your super, how tax can apply, and the role of death benefit nominations. In session 2, we're joined by estate planning expert Anne Jansen, who has over 20 years of experience in estate planning law. We'll explore some of the practical questions members often have, from planning for incapacity, avoiding common mistakes, and making things simpler for the people you leave behind. This session is designed for members who want a broader practical guidance and peace of mind about their estate planning beyond super. There's no right or wrong choice. Both sessions are designed to support you, and you can revisit the other one when it suits you. To choose the session you'd like to attend, please close this window to return to the event lobby, and I will see you back here later.